Okay, this is an answer to a student's question who was able to get the question right, but then had trouble with being able to get the value rounded correctly because Excel was not showing enough decimal places. So I'm just going to quickly do this. There is another more comprehensive video that you can watch if you want to focus more on the process of answering this specific question. But I'm going to try to make this a brief video so we can focus on the matter of making sure your answers fit the rounding requirements. Okay, so I've just entered in the data and now I'm going to start by finding the mean. So the population mean is, I can use the average function for this. Okay, now it says nothing about rounding there, but all I can see is 8.2. Now, what I could do is check to see if there are any other decimal places just by changing it. So what I did is I right-clicked and I clicked Format Cells and I went into Number Type and then changed the number of decimal places that are showing. So that can be useful if you're ever in a situation where you feel like you might not be seeing enough decimal places to make sure your answer is correct. Okay, from there we would go and do x minus the mean for each one of these. Take your x value and subtract the mean, F4 to make it absolute. You can also simply type in the number, and then we have the deviations. Now we want to take the deviations and raise them to the power of 2 to make everything positive. So we're going to take each individual deviation, raise it to the power of 2, and I can copy that down. And next, I'll want to go ahead and put all these values in here. 1.8, 1.8. Oops, I couldn't do it that way. I have to do it clicky clicky. Negative 1.2. Let me pause while I'm entering all this. Okay, again, I just wanted to point out, again, it doesn't say here how many decimal places to put into the spaces here, but I do know that in general, we don't want to round values in the middle of a calculation because that can or will usually make a round off error that is going to get your answer wrong in the end, just on the end answer. So again, this is a good opportunity for me to just check to make sure I'm not missing information here. And right now I'm more concerned about the final answer than anything else. But you can see, it's showing only 2 decimal places because each one of these only has 2 decimal places, right? But this is just a good thing to check periodically. All right, but I don't know if I would leave it like that now that I know. I kind of want to just have it look cleaner, so I'm going to put it back. Or you can also make the column smaller, and sometimes that'll make it look nicer too. But I'm going to go ahead and reformat these. Just right-clicking, format cells, and then put the number of decimal places that I want to see. Okay, so I'll finish entering this data. Hold. Okay, now I've got all those values entered. Let's just see how it comes out. All right, looks good so far. Now we need the total of the squared deviations. So I'm going to do that right here. The sum of all my squared deviations. Did not mean to do that. I just wanted this one bolded. Okay, so 12.8. Okay, and now we're ready to finish this off with the rest of the formula. So far we just did the summation of all the squared deviations. Now we want to divide by the sample, or the population size in this case, n. Remember, if we're doing a sample standard deviation, you would see n minus 1, the lowercase n, for sample size minus 1 in the denominator. And instead of seeing a Greek letter sigma, you would see the letter S to represent the sample standard deviation. But this one is for the population. Okay, so the sample size, or I should be saying population size, capital N, is you can use the count function or you can just simply count. This is small enough to just count it by hand, 3, 4, 5, right? So it's got 5, right? So I'm going to take my sum of squared deviations and divide that by n. And when we do this, that is going to be our population variance, sigma squared. So take that sum, divide by n, and there is my variance. Now to make it into a standard deviation, I am going to take the square root of the variance. So I'm getting 1.6. Now it says round to 2 decimal places, and I'm only seeing 1 decimal place. So let me go ahead and change this to 2 decimal places, and I see that it is actually 1.60. Okay, hope that helps. How to manage making sure that your rounding comes out correct.